Hello, pub people.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
I am out of bed on a Monday morning.
Oh my goodness.
That's good.
What time is it there? I always forget what the difference is.
Early. It's 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay,
The sun is not
that's
yet
not too
risen.
bad. I was talking to Nerdy Kathy earlier, and I said, "You're invited to the pub, but I don't expect to see you because it's 4 a.m. in Melbourne."
She'll only just be going to bed. That woman keeps insane hours.
No, she actually said, "I may be up at 4, but I'm still not feeling very good." She's still a bit sick. So she said she won't join, but she may join at 4 a.m. her time next week or week after or something.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hello, Christian. Hello, Caro. Hello, Jerome. The usual suspects. Some of the usual suspects, anyway. How are you all doing? Actually, first of all, we have to say congratulations to Victoria Techman.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got a new book out.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah. The cover reveal and pre-orders are
Out-ish. Yeah.
Out-ish. Yeah.
Yeah. Close to out.
Close to out-ish. Yeah.
It's good. I have to out myself as a not very good friend. I was a beta reader, and what I read of it was really good. And me not finishing it does not reflect in any way on the book. It's much more, I've just been kind of slumpy with my reading for a while.
That's fair.
But I did read, I don't know, the first quarter of it or thereabouts, and it was definitely off to a good start. So I'm looking forward to getting a physical copy in my hot little hands.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Colton's here, Morton's here.
One of the best parts of being an author is opening that first fresh box of hard copies of the book and getting to hold them for the first time.
Yeah.
It's nothing like it. It's so good.
I can really imagine.
Yeah.
I have said for a long time, one of my best friends is a designer, and the two of us have said for a long time, it would be kind of cool to be a carpenter or something, maybe, because we both work in the internet, and like nothing I've created except things I did in the last year or two exists anymore. It's all virtual. And if the internet went away tomorrow for some reason, nothing I've ever done in my entire career would exist. Yeah. It's just like, it's kind of nice. I used to design books a long time ago. I used to design books, and I have some of those on my shelf still. And I can say to people, I used to design books. Look, here's one of the books I designed, you know? And it's a really nice feeling.
It really is.
Yeah. Mariana is here. Hi, everybody. Aslan's here. Peter's
Mariana
here.
was talking to Philip.
I know. I cannot wait to watch that episode.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, I've got it back on my playlist.
I have not caught up on that one. I've been slumpy reading, and I've been kind of behind on catching up with BookTube. See,
Kathy, I hope you feel
We were
better
just talking
soon.
about you.
Kathy, when you're not feeling well, you should go to bed before 4 in the
You should go
morning.
to bed.
Yep.
Man,
Although if you're watching from bed, that's a little more
slightly,
forgivable.
but still, sleep is the best for recovery. Go to bed, Kath. Hi, Alicia. Yeah, pitch your book, Tori.
Okay.
I'm giving you a platform.
Thanks. Cold Silver for Souls is book 1 in the Shade Silver series, which follows a bounty hunter necromancer protagonist as she is seeking kind of her own form of justice in a world inspired by the Wild West and Yukon Gold Rush. So there's, of course, a Motley Crue trope because... Of course there is. Found family, lone wolf and cub vibes where Hunter has
I love that.
somebody other than herself for once. And yeah, it's I've got some really exciting ideas coming up for the series arc as a whole. And yeah, I had an absolute blast writing it. So
Have you already got a kind of plan? Is it going to be like a trilogy or
4 to 6 books?
4 to 6?
Wow.
Short.
Wow.
They're short.
Okay.
But yeah.
They're pretty short. Yeah.
So it's not like writing 6 books of the Bruhai series.
Yeah. No, it's
So you're working on 2 series at once, basically. 3.
3.
Oh my.
what's the third
Wow.
one? Do we,
So
are
technically
we
not a
allowed to know?
series. Oh yeah. Well, I have other projects in the in the works that won't come out until later also, but Phased has a sequel
Okay.
that I need to write in the next year or 2 here, and I'm planning on it. I've got about half of them, well, probably not that much, a third of the manuscript written from a couple of years ago, and I'm finally ready to go back and finish that one, and then that'll be done. And then I've got Cold Silver, and then I am currently switching gears into Queen's Wolf, which is book 2 of the Bruhai trilogy, and I cannot wait to go back to those characters. Last year was a tough year.
We cannot wait.
Me neither, honestly. Last year was a really tough year, and I didn't have the headspace in just because of a personal life and a lot of other things going on to give Queen's Wolf enough of the attention that it deserves. And Cold Silver kind of saved my creativity last year and was a blast. So,
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Some of my favorite older sci-fi fantasy books were born in short stories. So I love knowing that this series has done
It gives
the
you
same.
a chance to kind of try the character and see. And I had always said I will probably never write a first person narrative. There's no way I'll write it because I just couldn't figure out how I would feel about that. And I discovered that it just takes a specific character. If you can find the right character, it's all of a sudden like, oh, I can totally do this because Hunter is so much fun to write in first person. And her world and the story is conducive to being written that way too. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge Wild West fan. Mostly in movies. I haven't read that many books. In fact, I think I've only read Lonesome Dove as far as Western novels. But I'm a huge Wild West fan in movies, and I didn't know that what I needed was a female necromancer protagonist in the Wild West. But apparently
Why
I
not?
did. Yeah. Yeah. Hunter is super cool.
It was kind of an amalgamation of all of the Western stories I've loved, mostly like you in film. I'm a big fan of Young Guns, 3:10 to Yuma, the newer Magnificent Seven, which I know gets me in trouble with people because they're like, but what about the old one?
You realize 3:10 to Yuma is also a new one. Yeah.
Yes, technically speaking.
Not technically speaking, it's a remake. It's a remake of an old movie.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then my great grandfather was a horse trader, so that all of that's just in my family history. And my grandpa used to tell me Western stories all the time. He held targets. My grandfather held targets for a very, very good it's not a gunslinger, but like somebody who did trick shooting. And he used to hold cards for this guy when he was doing his shows and stuff, which was pretty cool. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yep.
Should read True Grit. Very funny Western.
on my list.
I've seen all of the True Grits, the movies. I used to be really in love with the old, what's his name? I'm blanking. The actor that did the first True Grit.
Oh, John Wayne.
John Wayne, yeah, of course.
Mm.
I was just like completely blanking. Yeah, I loved the old John Wayne one, but once I saw the new one, I was like,
Thank you.
I don't think I'm going to watch the John Wayne one probably ever again, because it's a very, very good remake. Yeah, they're
it's a thoughtful remake.
yeah,
for sure.
and I mean it seems to be a big thing also, specifically in the Western genre, is remaking the old classics.
It's kind of a Hollywood thing in general.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. Kind of,
yeah. Going, we don't want to take a risk with anything anymore, and we know this find something else that's already succeeded. Yeah.
How many Tombstone references are there? Okay.
I was wondering. 0.
Sorry, guys. I'm not a Tombstone fan.
Hi, Claudia.
I was going to say,
not a fan. I tried it. I did
man.
it, but I didn't love it. I didn't love it.
I'm your Huckleberry.
I will say Doc Holliday's character was awesome.
Doc Kilmer in that movie was awesome.
OG.
Yeah. Doc Holliday, just as a character in all of the versions ever, is awesome.
Totally agree.
And Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday is like the definitive Doc Holliday.
Yeah,
I agree. That's right. I forgot you played that role as well.
Yeah. Speaking of Val Kilmer, R.I.P.
Yeah.
What a pity.
Yes.
He was pretty cool in lots of
different things.
Lots of different things.
He was in Willows,
so many
Matt
things.
Mardigan.
Yeah, he was in Top Gun. He was in like everything.
A lot of big movies.
Yeah, he did tons of work.
He was a Batman.
He was not a very good Batman, I have to say. But
he
was Batman. Yeah. He played a lot of interesting, flawed heroes.
Yeah,
you can say.
I always feel that he never quite got the role he needed to become as big a character actor as he could have been.
The Jim Morrison,
because he could really
the Jim Morrison role was really
true.
Good.
That's true.
Really good.
In the Doors, he was very good. Yeah, he was pretty like that. Really was the first time I saw him, and I was like, "Oh, dude can really act."
Yeah.
Like he's not just a funny kind of interesting hero kind of guy, but he can really act.
Yep.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, he had some talent.
I will agree with you there, Rogue. I am a huge Clint Eastwood Western fan.
Unforgiven's one of my favorites.
Unforgiven, but also the older one. I mean, there's a cheesy older Clint Eastwood period, and then there's a really good old Clint Eastwood period, like Pale Rider and High Plains Drifter, and then the spaghetti westerns as well, and then Unforgiven just sort of brought it all together. Unforgiven's amazing.
Well, I think he'd taken everything he'd learned from all of those years playing that character.
Absolutely.
He always played that character.
Man with no name.
Of going, okay, this is this story that I want to tell with them. And it was so good. Oh, funny thing, you've got involved now with Pratchett's City Watch series. And I'm interested to know who you picture for Vimes. Because I'm old enough that the references in the early City Watch books are very Clint Eastwood. So I always picture Clint Eastwood as Vimes. So I'm interested in who comes to mind for younger readers.
Which would only be Tori.
He's so much older.
Hi.
No, somebody was on a different Discord, and I can't remember who they said, but when I said Clint Eastwood, they were like, he's way too old. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm old.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
when I read
at that age,
Clint Eastwood was once younger.
Yeah. What?
You know. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
He didn't always. It's really funny, actually. Like if you go way back, and you watch like Two Mules for Sister Sarah, or like his real early westerns, you always think of Clint Eastwood as this craggy. I mean, even in Dirty Harry, he was already kind of rough looking,
grizzled and
but in Two Mules for Sister Sarah, he's such a smooth faced boy, and And yeah,
handsome.
he was one of the real sort of heartthrobs at the time.
He was quite a beautiful young man, I have to say.
Yeah. For some reason, coming back to Sam Vimes, I think it's just because of all of the cartoony sort of Discworld artwork I've seen. I always think of Sam Vimes as short. And Clint Eastwood is the opposite of short. He's really tall.
Yeah.
He is, but for me, it's the facials. It's the craggy. I've been out in the weather for years.
I could totally
years
imagine
years,
Clint Eastwood's head as Sam Vimes's head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the body, but
I can just see him with the cigarette hanging. It's just like
totally.
That's how that works.
Mitch recommends Warlock by Oakley Hall if you want events inspired by Tombstone. Okay.
Nice.
Interesting.
I will say, Derry, I think it's probably because of my obsession with John Culshaw's narration, but Vimes will always be Sean Bean for me. Always.
That works.
Like a leaner Sean Bean. Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can see it in his sharp days, maybe.
Yeah.
I know he has done a whole bunch of other things, but I can only imagine Sean Bean as either Ned Stark or
Boromir.
Yeah. And like I know there are other things, but even when I see like the Sharp TV show, I see clips of that. I think that's a weird way for Boromir to dress. It's like it's not Sean Bean, he's Boromir, and he did a sideline as Ned Stark, or the other way around.
I have to laugh. Sean Bean as Boromir. I watch a couple who have literally only just this week finished watching Lord of the Rings. So they've just finished watching Return of the King, and they're watching the flashback scene that Denethor has, where you get Boromir come back, and you get that little flash of Boromir's death scene again. And the husband of the couple goes, Sean Bean dies in movies he's not even in.
It's true. Bless him.
That's good.
That needs to be a meme.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a Bond villain too? He was a Bond villain one time.
Was he?
I believe so. One of those movies.
I think so. Okay. He's definitely been in Bond.
He was in this movie called Equilibrium with
yeah.
That was a great film. With the Batman actor.
Val Kilmer?
No, the other one.
Christian Bale?
Christian Bale, yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton.
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
There have been so many Batmans.
That was a great movie.
I liked Michael Keaton as Batman.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I liked him as Bruce Wayne.
He, to me, I always think of him as being kind of a weirdo. Like, I don't buy him as a high society dude, and I don't buy him as a like beat everyone to hell super detective. I didn't. Okay, Mitch says Goldeneye, apparently.
Goldeneye. Okay.
There you go.
Sean Bean was the baddie in Goldeneye?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
He kind of pops up everywhere.
I love the doubt being shown here.
It's been a long time.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He really has. I really loved him in The Martian because they even made a play on the whole meeting at Elrond's. I love it.
Oh, really?
It's a whole scene in the book. And then they got Sean Bean to play a character who gets to explain the scene in the movie. Perfect.
Okay.
Why is it a secret meeting at Elrond's? Elrond's secret meeting was the code name. Yeah. And they're like, what is this about? And the PR woman comes in, and of course, all the guys there are like, oh, yeah, it's about the meeting, about the One Ring, where they decide. And this PR woman is like, none of you got laid in high school. But they all knew. Like,
all the science nerds.
From the code name. They all knew, okay, it's a secret meeting.
We're going to see Elrond.
Got to have to make a huge decision.
Fitz has joined us.
I saw. She's so pretty.
She's man, I can't figure it out because I have in 2 weeks there will be no pub because I have the Kraken again, the sort of weekend thing that I go to where nerds play board games and role playing games all weekend.
That sounds really cool.
It is really cool, and it's I'm super looking forward to it. But I usually feed her 3 times a day. And I don't want to get a cat sitter to come 3 times a day. I want to get a cat sitter to come twice a day. That's enough. So I'm trying to get her back on partially dry food because I have a machine that will spit out her lunch. But of course, it only does dry food. And I
was not impressed with this, I'm guessing.
I stopped giving her dry food a while ago because she would puke every time she ate dry food.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, okay, let's just stop that. So now I thought, okay, I'll try a different dry food. Maybe it was just the one she,
Yeah.
And I put it down. She ate it up. It's wonderful. I was super happy for like 3 days. Today, she puked her dry food again. So I'm not really sure what to do with Fitz and lunch. Anyway. How is my gaming channel going? My gaming channel is going really well, actually. Just ticked over 800 subs.
Nice.
This week. And the videos keep coming. And I've built a pretty good relationship now after a while with the dev studio that creates the game I'm playing. So I get a little insider information occasionally and that kind of thing. But most importantly, because it's a really complex game, I can go to them now and I can say, I think from what I've seen in the game, this works like this. Am I wrong? And they'll get back to me, so it's cool. It's enjoyable. Yeah. Another great Western that recently came out, Power of the Dog. Yeah,
I was just looking at that.
I've been meaning to see that.
Yeah,
I've seen like little clips and stuff of it, and it looks interesting.
Yeah, very good.
It looks definitely interesting. It looks very much like one of those Westerns that's not a Western. Like it's not doing what the genre normally does, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. I'm just... It didn't look like a riding into town, guns blazing kind of Western. It looked like a character story kind of more than anything else.
That's fair.
I like those.
Sean Bean was in the first Silent Hill movie. That is very random. You're right, Mariana.
I think he's one of these actors that never says no.
Yeah. Well, he's, in a way... He's kind of like Val Kilmer. Like Val Kilmer did a whole bunch of kind of B-ish movies. Like almost everything he did. Probably the biggest thing he ever did was Top Gun. But almost everything else he did was kind of like, it's got some fans, but it's not really a big movie. And Sean Bean was like that until Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
Like he was kind of all over the place, but not in any huge things.
I think it comes to actors who just love doing their job. They're like, I get to be an actor and they put me in stuff. Yeah, I'll do it. Cool. I got another job. And I don't know, the picky actors sometimes rub me the wrong way when they go, oh no, that was a bit too blockbustery for me. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What? So.
Yeah, Batman Returns for me is...
It's got Catwoman in it, and it's Michelle Pfeiffer.
You've basically got two choices if you're going to do Batman. You can either connect what you're doing to the Adam West Batman and make it colorful and silly, or you can connect what you're doing to Frank Miller's Batman, which is dark and gritty. And all of the films, I always divide them that way. Like there are some that are definitely more Adam West, and there are some that are definitely more Frank Miller. And the newer ones have all been going the Frank Miller direction, which I personally prefer. I think Batman deserves to be.
Yeah, but when those movies came out in the 80s, they were darker than what was already available. So
I guess that's true. I guess
the
that's
Adam West stuff was like,
and they really upset a lot of Batman fans because they were so dark. Tim Burton,
Batman should be dark.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a guy who beats people up because someone murdered his parents. I mean, it should be kind of dark. Power of the Dog is very good. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, it's good to know.
Dan.
Hey,
Dan apparently doesn't want to join
Dan.
us on screen. He doesn't like one or all of us.
It's me.
Because I sent him an
He
invite. I sent him a
leaves when
link,
I
or at least I
arrive.
think I did. Did I send you a link, Dan? I'm pretty sure I did. So I'm gonna take it personal. Jerome knows Velcoma
Absolutely.
from Heat. Oh, that's right.
That was good.
Oh, that's a good film.
Very good.
Pedro Pascal. I have grown to love Pedro Pascal. I like seeing him in anything that I can.
I have discovered I just love him as a bloke. I think he's fabulous. I saw a string of, for some reason, of just randomly unrelated interviews with him. He sounds like an absolute blast. Like, I want to hang out with that man. He sounds like
he's
so
definitely
much fun.
on my have a beer with list. If I ever got a chance, I would definitely drink a beer with Pedro Pascal. He seems like a really, really cool dude. And he was great in The Mandalorian, which is kind of a joke. I mean, he was barely in The Mandalorian, really.
Well, you never.
There are literally some of the episodes of The Mandalorian, he only did the voice.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do the body.
Wow. I
Well,
did not know that.
like why would you pay?
Well, you don't have to.
Why would you pay Pedro Pascal what he probably can demand? I mean, they did for most of the series, but like, it could have been anybody. You could have got the gopher from the production crew to put on the armor, and just had Pedro Pascal do the voice. But
that's right. I'm with Christian though. It's definitely Game of Thrones that put him on my radar. But I was rewatching Buffy not long ago, and a baby Pedro played a vampire on Buffy.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
I think everyone in the world had a crush on Pedro Pascal after Game of Thrones season 4, to be honest.
Oh,
yeah, he was pretty hot.
When he played that
he was pretty hot.
I have I take a lot of umbrage with certain things about that season, but it's fine.
Anyone see? I'm not going to answer your question, Colton, until you actually type the entire name of that movie.
Okay, in half an hour we'll come back.
I have seen that, but a long time ago.
I also saw it. It was also, I agree. It was a very good character drama.
Yeah. That's my favorite kind of Western, to be honest. Like, I like the gunfights and stuff, but I need a good character story in there, a deeper character story.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, Ray saw it.
Although, I mean, that's the thing I love about Unforgiven is Unforgiven has all of the Western beats. You know, it ticks all of the Western boxes and is a really, really remarkable character story.
Yeah.
Like a really intense story, because you've got that I don't want to get involved, and you get all that flashbacky kind of behavior, and he's so good. It sounds ridiculous, but one of my favorite films, which kind of isn't a Western movie, but also meets a lot of the tropes, is City Slickers with Billy Crystal. I love that film. It is so ridiculous. An incredibly young Jake Gyllenhaal plays his son in that film.
Yeah, it's actually a really good movie.
Yeah. I always, and people look at me strange, there's a scene in it where he's trying to get a baby cow to come to him, and he's chasing it around a tree or a bush or something, and he's going, hello. And only my sister gets it when I do that. Because she's the only one who saw it as much as me.
Colton's too lazy to type out the title. But The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford was a very good movie. Yes. It was really
nominated for a couple of things that year.
And like, as soon as I saw that it was coming out, I was like, how can you name a movie that? But because it's like one of the only movies that has a name that long, it became kind of memorable, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want Dan to explain what the fuck an Oddities Expo is. Come on, Dan.
I'm intrigued.
I guess that's a like, if I could go to an Oddities Expo, I wouldn't be here either. but I don't even know what an Oddities Expo is. I would just go anyway.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. The name makes you think.
Now
well,
I'm curious.
Have a look.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
I also wanted to say a serious moment. I mentioned it, I think, last time, and I've mentioned it before. I was not doing this for quite a number of weeks because I've had a problem with depression all my life, and I was not doing so good. And a number of people after last week wrote me and said, just so you know, the pub is a really good mental health support for me. And I love hearing that.
That's awesome.
That to me is very touching, and
That's
it
awesome.
makes me, I mean, I would, even if it wasn't helping anyone, I would sit around and hang out with my nerd friends and talk shit. Like, no question. But knowing that it's also a good support for people who have similar problems makes me very, very happy and is very touching. Thank you for everybody that wrote me and let me know that kind of stuff.
I agree with
Totally.
them because I'm out of bed, and since I moved, I don't have a motzi to give me that push that, like, you have to move, you have to actually get out of your bed. So I have really struggled with that in the last couple of weeks, because when you have depression, that can be a difficult thing to just move.
Indeed.
And knowing this was this morning was enough. When I woke up and I looked at my phone, I was like, oh, I've got an hour, I can have a cup of tea. But it was a given that I was going to get up, because this was a thing that I like, and I'm going to come and I'm going to visit. So yeah, it's definitely a mental health positive.
I'm
for sure.
super happy about that. Like I said, I'm not doing it to try and help anyone. I'm not that nice, but I'm super happy that it does actually help, and it helps me. Like, I not doing it. This is typical. Like, anybody with any kind of depression problem, this will sound very familiar. You start feeling bad, so you don't do things that make you feel good, so you feel worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because you feel worse, you don't do other things that don't make you feel
cycle.
good, so you feel worse. Right?
Oh, but then you get the added guilt, because you know
exactly. I'm such a fucking idiot. I'm so stupid. I should, if I had done the pub, I would feel better right now, etc. So I was doing all of that for a number of weeks recently, where every Sunday I was like, I know I should do the pub. It will make me feel better. I miss you people. And I just don't feel like it.
And then the more weeks where you don't do it, it's easier to not do it again.
Yeah.
And it's depression is
Thank
horrible,
you, Rogue.
and all of us who have struggled with it, go us for still being here.
This pub is an Oddities Expo. Are you making a statement about me and my guests?
Hey, now. I mean, it's kind of true, though.
I mean, like,
I would argue, but I can't.
I totally understand that you just say whatever shit comes to mind, Jerome, because you're Dutch, and that's what Dutch people do.
Well, this is true. It is.
I was so happy
it is a cultural
to see an American series. Like, I live in Europe. I know Dutch people in Berlin. I've traveled to Holland. Like, I'm familiar with Dutch, but I don't expect Dutch people. I don't expect everybody in the world to be, and especially Americans who in general don't travel that much and don't necessarily know cultures because they don't go there.
Huge.
And I was so happy to watch Ted Lasso, and they made numerous Dutch jokes because the football team is from all over the place, and there's a Dutch player, and they're constantly saying, oh, he didn't mean it, he's just Dutch, that kind of thing.
That's fun.
It's that exposure, even in little bits, that can help.
Yeah. Christian, depressed last few months since being laid off my job. High five being unemployed. I didn't get laid off, but I'm a freelancer, and I just haven't, because I haven't been feeling that great. I haven't been going out and looking for a job like I should. Hanging out every Sunday has been great so
I
far.
had a stroke, and my brain is unreliable.
Christian. Weird stuff. Okay, I got that from the name already, Dan. Stuffed bats, dragon statues, butterfly skeletons, kraken paintings. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
sounds
Because
cool.
speaking of going places, I was very nervous about going to ICFA a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
Oh, you
But
went to ICFA.
I ended
was
up
it?
going, and it was fantastic.
Of course it
Ah.
was.
I had a great time, and
Did you catch any other
yeah, I
booktubers
met
while
up
you were there?
with Alex from Books on Banks and Jake from Nerd Level Rising
Nice.
and Chance from
Nice.
Chance Dillon.
Nice.
And they were there, and there was we hung out, and I talked a lot with Jenny while we were
Nice.
down
Cool.
there. So we hung out.
Awesome.
She's so great.
She's
How
so
many
generous with her time.
I just unmirrored
yeah.
your
There you go.
camera so we can read her
And
name. Yeah.
I also hung out with Stephen Donaldson. He is so
I would
fantastic.
love to meet him.
Oh,
I would
he's
love
awesome.
to meet him.
He's so awesome. He's
Yeah.
so intelligent, and he's so witty,
Mhm.
and he's a funny guy. And it was such a good
Nice.
and Robert Sawyer. I don't know if he's a sci-fi author.
I know
He's
of
won-
the name, but I haven't
He's
read
won the
anything by him.
Hugo and Nebula Awards.
Wow.
So, and he is a hilarious dude. And and of course Jenny's husband Don Mates was there as well, and he is great. And so it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and I was so glad I went after. I was like, oh, should I be doing this? And then I went, and I was like, yes, this was good.
I'm glad you went. That's awesome.
Excellent. Erickson wasn't there?
No, he couldn't make it this year.
Oh, that's pity.
So that was too bad. But I went last year. I saw him last year, but him and Essamon could not make it this year. So.
Damn.
But that's all right. It was good.
After seeing the videos that people made, like Jimmy Nuts and AP and Joanna.
Oh yeah, and that's our
Philip,
AP too. Yeah.
They were all there together, and I saw those, and I was like, next year I'm fucking flying to Florida. I have family in Florida anyway, so I was like, I'll go visit my family, and for a couple days I'll go down and I'll go to ICFA. And since then, none of them have been there. Or AP.
AP's always there. Yeah.
Yeah, AP's always there, but
if I had the ability, I would go there just to meet AP because he made
he's,
such a difference for me personally in
yeah,
my reading.
He's so great to talk to. So
absolutely, absolutely.
Well, I'm glad you had a better experience going out and doing something than poor
Yeah,
Daniel.
Daniel. First of all,
oh,
it's a badge of honor to get arrested if you're protesting. I mean, you kind of like you haven't really protested until you've gotten arrested at a protest.
I would just like to say, at the moment, I think that's pretty low bar in America.
Well, in Europe, American protests are pretty tame. I used to go to a protest. I used to go to a protest every year where the I'm blanking on the name. No, the very, very left
extremists.
Yeah, but there's a particular group, and they've been doesn't matter. Their capital in the world basically is Hamburg, Germany, and their capital within the capital, like the place that they always threw their riot every year, was like 3 blocks from my house. And I was a very active photographer, so I used to go down and photograph the protests. I don't get involved in protests. I'm not really much of an activist kind of guy, but I used to go photograph the protests and photograph the police and all of that. And I nearly got hit in the head with a brick because throwing bricks was pretty normal, and setting shit on fire, like that was extremely normal at these protests. The press people, when they go to these protests, they wear bulletproof vests and skateboard helmets. Sometimes with faceplates. I should have been wearing,
because rubber bullets hurt.
Yeah, exactly. So I agree with Jerome. Good that you're protesting, no question, but take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Somebody called the police and said that Daniel pulled a knife on them. First rule of protest:
That's a bit
don't
off.
carry anything with you that the police will object to.
Yeah.
Don't have a knife. Don't have any kind of drugs, not even the smallest amount. Like,
Something that they're big on here is no hate speech on your signs either. Like, you have to be really polite. You can make your point, but you can't use hateful language. They crack down on that. I think partly too is it's the news networks shy away from covering those kind of events. So the people who are running the protest are like, if we're going to get maximum coverage, make your sign something that can be allowed.
what do we
on the
want?
news.
Change. When do we want it? Soon, please.
Well, now
Polite
protest.
protest.
But no expletive emphasis, perhaps.
Yeah. The most interesting protests here tend to be when the skinheads decide to do a march or something. And by law, the police have to give anybody who wants a protest license, and they have to provide protection. But what always happens, and Antifa is what I was trying to think of earlier. Like the Antifa capital city is Hamburg, at least in Germany. And of course, when the skinheads decide they're doing a march, Antifa decides they're going to disrupt the skinhead march. And if you get Antifa and skinheads together in close proximity and everybody's a little excited, it gets messy.
Yeah.
Pete!
We have a history of finding humour a lot in New Zealand when we're protesting something. And quite a few years ago now, our annual celebration of our native people for the Māori culture is centred around Waitangi Day, which is supposedly the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi, which is when the English came and pretty much just bamboozled the country off of all the Maori chiefs. So it's a big protest site. That why are we celebrating this today? This is the day it all got stolen from us. All of these things, and the right-wing government representative was there one year, and he quite famously had a dildo thrown at his face. And
I saw that.
Got slow motion memes.
Of course
on
it
the
did.
News.
It was on John Oliver. It was on HBO.
I've
it was
actually
a big deal.
Yeah.
And we loved it. We were like, yes, this is what we think of this man. This is
Dick head.
Glory. Yeah, pretty much. This guy, he's one of these. So let's just say he lay low for a long time after that. He was
fair enough.
Leaving the house.
Don't want to have random dildos thrown at your head.
No, but it was it wasn't a harmful weapon. There was no edge, no blade, there's nothing
made out of soft silicone
with one. Yeah. So there was no offense to be had because, the political party were like, we're going to press charges for assault. And they basically got laughed out.
There you go, Daniel. Much better idea.
Really?
Much better idea. The police can't really say anything about you having a dildo with you.
Yeah.
Knives or...
And yet it can be very threatening to some people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I was just going to ask that, Colton.
Huh?
What is everybody reading right now?
I'm still reading Royal Assassin.
Excellent.
I had a bit of a breakdown last week reading it and had to really assess why. Like, I was full body sobbing at a scene where nothing happens.
Okay.
Like, why? Why did this hit me so hard this time? And I think I might have read it too much. I know too much about all of the characters and the impact of everything that was happening, and it was so meaningful. And I was devastated. And none of that was in the paragraph. I brought all of this context with me. And I had to go to bed. It hit me really hard. I was like, why can't I might put that down for a couple of days?
Fair enough.
Because I might be reading it too much.
Switch to some Dresden for a little while or something. It's a little...
I genuinely thought
softer.
about it after talking to Murphy. I was like, I could just go back to Dresden.
I was recommending it on the fireside recently to Stelios, the Greek guy who's reading Malazan, and he wrote and was like, "Can you read other things with Malazan?" I was like, "Of course you can, but
Not
I'd
really.
recommend something maybe a little easier."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Something light. Can recommend Pratchett.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing. I said to him, read some Discworld, read some Dresden.
Read some Dungeon Crawler, Carl.
I'm not going to recommend that to anyone myself, but of course you are.
I totally am. And I have Mike's
And
video
that's
to watch later
totally
because
fine.
he's come out this morning and gone, okay, I'm a snob. You guys were actually right. So I need to watch them because I don't get to see him eat his words very often. So.
Dan is on a Murakami kick. That's cool. What are you reading, Dan? I've read, I think now, because I had a phase where I read everything Peter Carey ever wrote, and I read everything Paul Auster ever wrote, and I read everything Murakami ever wrote, all in a 6-month period. But I stopped. So I think now I've read about 2/3 of Murakami's bibliography, because he hasn't stopped writing. So yeah, I like Murakami a lot. He's weird. There are definitely some bits where I wonder what he kind of thinks of women, but he also comes from a very strange culture where women are concerned. Japan is odd when it comes to women. Jerome is still reading, as Kyle calls it, Mid-Ghana.
That's not fair.
No, it's not fair. But I think it's more of a compared to everything else.
In comparison.
I liked it.
Yeah.
GGK is the same for me. I read GGK back when GGK had not already written a bazillion books. So I read the Fiannavar Tapestry, what is it, 3, 4 books? 3 books.
3.
I read the Fiannavar Tapestry trilogy. I read Tigana, and I read something else. I can't remember the name. And there wasn't that much more back then because I'm old.
Yeah.
So.
Because I've only read the Fiannavar Tapestry, and I love it. I get why it's the lowest ranked of his books just because of how tropey it is.
It's kind of a kiddie book.
It kind of is.
Compared to everything else he's written.
Fantasy. But there are scenes in it that
it's a beautiful trilogy. I like it a lot. I really enjoyed it.
And there's a bit of Arthurian retelling, and my favorite thing was there's quite a lot of Celtic tradition in that trilogy, which you don't often see in Western fantasy. You see a lot of Nordic, and a lot of, if they're going to pull from
I think a lot of people maybe don't take Fiannavar that seriously because it's basically, what if Narnia but with sex? There's not a lot of sex in the book, but what if Narnia but everybody was old enough to have sex?
Where relationships were a potential.
Exactly. So it does feel like, if you've read Narnia, Fiannavar is kind of so this is kind of Narnia,
the grown-up version.
Kind of, pretty close. When am I reading House of Open Wounds? Speaking of Narnia, Aslan asks, I don't know. I was actually chatting with Adrian this morning and a little bit yesterday. Well, no, I was apologizing because I asked him to do a special thing for me, which he did. And then I had kind of a couple of months of depression where I wasn't really doing videos. And I wanted to do something with the special thing he did for me, and I didn't do it. And now it's kind of too late. So I wrote him and I was like, dude, thanks so much that you did that for me. And I'm really sorry I didn't do anything with it. Anyway, House of Open Wounds. I've been really, really slow with reading. Normally I would be reading 4 to 8 books a month, depending on the length of the books. And I've been working on just this for a month, and I'm a third of the way through it. Right? I just haven't been reading much. I've been playing a lot of video games and not reading.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not
allowed.
putting myself down. Look who it is. Your audio is off. Your mic.
It was just muted for a hot second.
There we go.
It's
Pete!
Oh, how's the volume?
Yeah, it's good.
It's good.
Actually, this is the first time I've ever seen you on a stream and thought Pete's audio is okay.
I switched a few. I switched a few things around, and I've been tweaking it.
It's working.
Your
If
audio,
you turn,
like
if you turn me up loud enough, you will hear buzzing in the background. But we're not going to talk about that.
that's irrelevant compared to how your audio usually is. So it's totally fine for a stream right now. It's great. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you guys too.
It's been a while.
Nice to meet you, Pete.
Yeah. Hey, Jared. I think we've been on a stream or two, but
Maybe,
way
yeah.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We kind of fell off the what you're reading part.
We did. So yeah,
Oh.
I'm reading Return of the Crimson Guard.
Nice.
It's interesting.
It's very interesting.
I didn't think anybody could throw more what the fuck's going on and where the fuck are we and who the fuck is doing it than Erickson. But
I was
Hold my
just
beer.
going to say that.
Esselmont said, "Hold my beer."
Yeah.
And I'm constantly stopping. I've got on my phone, I've got all of the Malazan maps. And there are, I don't know, 15 different maps for the whole world. And I'm just constantly someone mentions the name of a city and I'm like, I don't think we've ever been here before in an Erickson book. So I'm like,
Where is this?
Li Heng? I've heard of Li Heng. I have no idea where Li Heng is in the world.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think Li Heng is in the original Malazan Empire. Like I say original, but that's
it's
on the mainland off of Kwantali.
It's on Kwantali, yeah.
It's on
Yeah.
Kwantali, but
There we go.
pretty much everything in Erickson's books
Is
doesn't happen in Kwantali.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's just mentioned, you know that Kwantali exists, you know that it's where the empire is, where the capital is and all of that, but you never go there.
Yeah.
So I was like, have I ever even looked at what Kwantali looks like and where on
Actually,
Kwantali Li Heng is?
We technically were in Malaz City 3 times in the trilogy. We never were actually on Kwantali.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Malaz City is somewhere else.
It's
know,
an
Malaz
island,
City is an island.
right below
It's
Kwantali.
nearby, but it's not Kwantali itself, and I don't think.
Well, it depends on is Japan a part of Asia? It's that sort of thing. Because it's an island off the coast of Kwantali.
Right.
Yeah.
That,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. Kwantali is a continent and not a national entity.
Correct.
So to
A
speak.
lot of things.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to remember because I've read the Path to Ascendancy books, except for the 4th one that's come out. And it takes place mostly on Kwantali because it's about the formation of the empire, sort of, or the people around it. I think Li Heng is probably one of the cities that we were in at some point.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That was a really I would describe that as a very fun series with a lot of different it was. I think it's a good series to read after you've read, the Malazan of the Fallen, just because I feel like a lot of my emotional investment into a lot of the characters in that were oh, I know this character and I know where this character dies. This is great. See where they started.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
A lot of great origin stories in that series. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to
longer.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm doing I call it Malaz Everything Read, which is I'm rereading the 10 books, but I'm putting, for example,
the whole chronological stuff.
Well, I'm doing the ultimate reading order.
Okay.
There are 4 different possible recommended reading orders.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing the ultimate reading order, which kind of puts the books in chronologically.
Yeah.
Except for Path to Ascendancy and
Carcanis.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do those when I've done everything else.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That's good.
I think I've kind of sort of started doing it back in chronological, right? So I've been not really because I did Path to Ascendancy and then I did Carcanis, or I'm starting Carcanis. I've done the first Carcanus book. I still have to do Fall of Light. But then I also like substituted in, I'm just reading the Black Company series before I get back to Carcanus.
Yeah.
So, and I may not get back to Fall of Light until Walk in Shadow comes out, which would be a nice time to read Fall of Light, honestly.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I really love the vibe of Forge in Darkness. Like everything just felt very like there was a lot of emotional punches in every chapter. And I think it was really nice just to like read it chapter by chapter and refresh myself on where I was. Cause like it feels like there's a book in every chapter, if that makes any sense, just because Erickson writes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I keep kind of thinking that with this, that it almost feels like he should have written a book that was twice as long, and he just knew that he shouldn't actually do that, because this is already 900, no, 1,040 pages. It's over 1,000 pages. So, but he keeps touching on something and throwing a bunch of characters into a situation where I'm like, okay, go with that, flesh that out, and then he switches somewhere else. You know, I'm like, dude,
I felt that a lot.
We don't know what's going on yet. Could you tell me a little bit more about what's going on? But I've heard from people it does that for a while, and then it clicks, and you just kind of get it, and then it rolls. You know,
Path to Ascendancy was like that, where he'd throw you in a situation and not explain that much. Just like, hey, this is happening now. And over time, especially like for new characters, that was a little bit confusing, but over time you got the hang of it.
If I had not already been trained at this by Erickson, like I've read 10 very big books by him, and I've reread 7 of them. So I'm pretty trained in just go with it. It'll make sense eventually. You'll figure it out eventually. Accept. Trust the author. He's doing this for a reason. He's not fucking with you. Like it'll be okay. So I've been trained with that. If I hadn't been, and I was trying to read Elsamont, I would probably throw this thing out the window. But I'm like, I get it. That's fine. You're doing what your buddy also does. I'm familiar with it. I'm being patient.
And that's a level of trust I think a lot of authors just can only dream of, really, that your readers will just put up with this for a lot of pages, trusting that you're going to give them what they're reading for.
I mean, it is my favorite series ever, the Book of the Fallen. But I every time I read any Erickson, and now when I'm reading Esselmont, I always think, how can this actually be popular enough that they get to publish this many books? You know, like it's not, I mean, I'll recommend it to almost anyone, but it is not a light and easy read. You know?
It's not necessarily accessible.
It's not super accessible. It's not straightforward, especially readers who are used to Sando explaining everything in detail to you. It's not that. It's so not that.
It's not a beach book.
It's not anything like a beach book.
I binged Toll the Hounds at the beach during a readathon, so I resent that. Would I do it again? Awesome. No.
No.
I would love to have nothing else to do and be on a beach while I'm reading, but it's not a book that I would think I'm going to go like for some brainless relaxation with cocktails on the beach. I'm going to take Malazan with me, you know? And yet...
Yeah, I live in New Zealand with some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. I would rather stay home with the curtains closed, having the cricket on the telly and reading, because outside is Bernie.
That's true. As an Australian, I've kind of forgotten this because I've been gone for so long.
Yeah.
But I remember I was traveling with a group of Australians and Europeans. There were a bunch of Europeans that came over and visited. It was a Buddhist group of people, and we were traveling all over the place. And of course, especially the Germans, because there are no good beaches in Germany or anywhere near Germany, all the Germans were like, we have to go to the beach. And all the Aussies were like, yeah, we can. And usually what happened is all the Germans ran down and threw their towels down on the sand and lay in the sun. And the Aussies went to the pub.
And how many shades of
the Aussies went to the pub. And then that evening, all of the Aussies, slightly drunk, laughed their asses off at all of the bright red Germans. It's like this. Not only do we have beaches,
the sun works
different. Do you need like an extra level of sunscreen when you're in Australia?
You need sunscreen, which is called clothing. Like you don't.
Yeah. Like you need sunscreen to go to
run around naked on the beach or nearly naked. Like when I went to the beach, I would at least wear a t-shirt. I had like beach shirts that were long sleeved.
Yep.
And I would wear those and a big hat because it'll burn the crap out of you. And still get sunburned
on your feet.
It's not just
because
the animals.
The sun works different.
No, the sun also hates you.
That's why.
It's like as an Australian, you learn like you go swimming. A lot of people wear like there are swimming shirts, you know, that are UV protection and all that.
Guards.
A lot of people wear those. Or you just go in, get out, put something on.
Serious enough. Every beach has free sunscreen.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
because it's like if you're out here with no sunscreen, you're kind of insane, and you need it.
Yeah.
It's
so important. all of you Europeans who are watching and are dreaming about an Australia holiday, definitely do it. The beaches will blow you away. They're more beautiful than any beach you've ever been to. And don't be an idiot about the sun. Yeah.
No. Put sunscreen on and then be aware that it makes you very attractive to sand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, reapply every half hour.
Yeah.
Or yes, because the minute you go to swim, you've washed it off.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to reapply, and it does wear off. So you do have to reapply because there are people who get sunburned after going out covered in sunscreen because it will get you.
My favorite of that group was actually, I feel so sorry for him, the only Irishman.
Oh no, the pale blue person.
He was literally light blue, and like if you're into Malazan, he was a Napan. Yeah, he was light blue, and the poor guy. And I grabbed him as soon as I saw him, and I was like, dude, this is going to be serious for you. You need like SPF 1000. You need to be wearing a shirt and a hat at all times, and under an umbrella. And when you go swimming, no longer than 5 minutes, and he was being careful. He wasn't being a European, oh my God, amazing beaches idiot. He was being careful. He was being sensible. He had blisters just from sunburn. He had blisters on his back because he ended up laying down in the wrong place and falling asleep. Yeah.
That's a bad one.
Anyway.
I like winter.
Me too. Just add layers until
something no Australian ever
and
said.
They get to be
I like hiking in the winter. Hiking in the winter is fun.
Yeah.
Hiking anytime when it's not crazy hot is nicer. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. I know Fahrenheit isn't helpful for anyone else outside of the US, but I will take a negative 15, 20 degree day over 90 degrees of heat and melting any day of the week.
I can't say I've experienced negative 15 before.
Come visit, Pete. Come visit me.
When I was younger, I was like that, but now,
If I ever come visit you, Tori, it will be in late spring or early summer. I will never come visit you in winter.
Actually, if you want to come to Minnesota, my recommendation is stay on the east side of the state, especially toward the north, and come during the fall because we have some of the most beautiful bluffs and colors you will ever see in autumn.
That would be a good reason to come to Minnesota, other than you and Brian, of course. Speaking of Brian, big wishes for Brian right now. His mother very unexpectedly died recently. He is, I think, right this minute at her funeral. Yep. And we are all thinking of you, Brian, if you're watching this on replay. I invited him today just in case he wanted to hang out with friends and get away from all the shit he's been dealing with, no doubt. And he said, no, thank you, but funerals today. So, yeah. Thinking of you, Brian.
It's a rough time.
Yeah. I've been through it. It's been a long time. My mother died a long time ago, but it's not fun.
Nope.
It's not fun at all. But translate that, please. Oh, he's talking about the temperature.
Oh.
Google it, Rogue. Haven't you got a phone? Jesus. Type into Google, what is minus 15F in C?
I mean, it's still going to be, it should still be.
It's negative 34 Celsius. That's not even that bad, guys. Like, we can get down to negative 50 and 60 degree wind chill here.
I mean, I went to Russia in the winter. I was in St. Petersburg when it was like 10 degree wind chill, and without the wind chill, it was already minus 30.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Vladivostok when it was minus 40 with no wind.
Mm-hmm.
And
the wind makes a big difference.
I'll do that as a tourist.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you go to Russia in winter for, you know? Like, for the insane cold and the ice everywhere. And St. Petersburg in winter is amazingly beautiful. There are gold domes everywhere. They've got all these gilded buildings, churches all over the place. And then ice all over the ground, so you can't walk, but everything sparkles. It's amazing.
It's beautiful.
But never again. Never again. I was at a party in Vladivostok at a Russian guy's house, and I was still smoking at the time. I went outside to smoke with a German guy. The two of us stood outside smoking. We took our big coats and everything with us. We stood outside smoking, and he was like, "Oh, I want to see a bit of the city at nighttime. I'm going to go for a walk." And I was like, "Yeah, cool." I went back inside. And my Russian friends inside were like, "Where is the guy you left with?" I was like, "I don't know. He went for a walk." And they were like, "Fucking idiots.
He's gonna die.
Have you never been in weather that can kill you before?" I was like, "No, I haven't." They were like, "Well, if he walks around and sits down somewhere, he might just fall asleep because it's so damn cold." So they, like, 4 guys went out and searched for him, brought him back 10 minutes later, you know. No, thank you. No, thank you. I like not living somewhere where it gets that cold.
Where it requires you to have a buddy system?
Yeah, exactly. Where huge Russian guys are worried for your safety just because weather, you know? No, thank you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's like anything else, because I can't imagine living somewhere where it was insanely hot all the time. I would melt and be gone. Like, I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
My body is very Nordic. I was not built for hot weather. So I think it's like anything where if that's where you're from and that's what you're used to,
Sure.
you know how to, like, you guys know when you go out to a beach and it's really, really hot, here's the things you do to take care of yourself. Here, when it's really cold, that you know how, like, these are the things you do to take care of yourself and be safe. And it is.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, it's the I feel like everybody who's just like, "Oh my gosh, the hot is so bad." I feel like that they think a lot about on the same level. If you guys, I don't know, have any of you guys read Saturation Point by Adrian Tchaikovsky?
No.
Okay.
No, I
So
haven't read that one.
basically,
I've read quite a few of them. But not that
basically,
one.
it's a novella. It's
that's-
short. But basically, what has happened with it's a cli-fi. So everything in the equator plus up to all the way almost to like Florida is uninhabitable because it's so hot and it's so humid. So humans can literally not cool themselves. So you walk
No, and you can't
Exactly.
breathe.
So
Because it's
the people that
too
go
moist.
into that area have to wear like specialized suits that cool them down and stuff like that. I feel like that's an interesting read, especially, and people that like read it that are like very cold natured are like, yes, this is exactly how I feel when I go out to Florida.
This is hell.
Yeah.
Basically.
Literally.
Yeah.
Humidity is
Like I said,
humidity is like the wind chill of
Mhm.
summer. So winter cold, wind chill makes it worse. Summer, hot, humidity makes it worse. And it's
You need a still
horrible.
suit.
It's just
Sydney was really rough sometimes in summer because Sydney is subtropical, and there's kind of a 2.5-3 month period where the high every day is 38 minimum, usually 40 or more, which is 100, and it's 80% or more humidity. So it's rough.
It's like walking through custard. It is horrible. It is really horrible.
The week I left Sydney, actually, this was a good send off. The week I left Sydney, I walked out of my air conditioned work building to go get my lunch because I like heat. I like heat. I walked 10 minutes, grabbed a sandwich usually, and sat down in a park in the shade and ate my lunch. I walked out of this air-conditioned building and it was 48 degrees outside. And it literally felt like someone had just pushed my head into an oven. It was dry. It was not a very humid day, but it was 48 degrees. And I was like, we have a cafe in the building. I'm not going for a walk. I'm not sitting outside and eating my lunch. Forget this.
You almost need a buffer zone in buildings where you do have the air conditioning because you're like, okay, we're all here all day. It has to be tolerable. But then to leave is such a shock to your body that it feels like a wall, particularly when it's humid because the air is literally heavy. And it's like a physical barrier of heat. And it's horrible. And it's why I came back to New Zealand because I couldn't handle Australia. It was too much. No, I'm going to
We never got all the
die.
way around with what are you reading? So Derry is reading Royal Assassin. I'm reading Return of the Crimson Guard.
Yep.
What's everyone else reading? I don't think anyone else showed us.
It's all right. Jared, what are you reading?
Well, I'll make. I just finished Destiny's Doom.
Ooh,
nice. Von Roycroft.
That's the third one, right?
Yeah. Yes. Beautiful wrap up. I loved it.
Cool.
It was so well done. And so now I'm going to get back into Initius Trial.
Nice.
And I'm also currently reading Absolution by Jeff Vandermeer. So,
cool.
Nice. Southern Reach, yeah. So good stuff all around.
Dory.
I am listening to Night Watch. 20% in. Absolutely loving it. Which isn't really a surprise at this point to anyone.
No.
And then my physical read is Blood Reunion by
cool.
Byrne, which is book 3 in Hybrid Helix.
I gotta get back to that series. Yeah.
Yeah, we're back in space, which makes me incredibly happy. So I'm not very far into that one yet, but
awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Pete, what are you reading?
So I got a few things that are on my table that I could do. The first one is Mask of Fear by I don't remember who, Alexander Freed.
By some unknown
Star Wars
words by the meter Star Wars author.
Yeah, essentially this is a directly after episode 3 political thriller. It follows Mon Mothma, it follows Bail Organa, it follows I've had a few PvPs from a dude that's around he's the one that dies in Rogue One pretty early on, the black guy with the air thing. He's like the really
Saw Gerrera.
Yeah, it's Saw Gerrera. Thank you.
Saw Gerrera, yeah.
I couldn't remember his name for a second. I just heard his voice in the back of my mind. But yeah, which is really I find Saw Gerrera a very interesting character just because like he's probably one of the most interesting characters that has been introduced into the Disney era. That has been a good introduction. Like him and Andor, I think both have been very good, kind of like expansions of the. I mean, everybody in Andor that's a new character because I'm just like an Andor shill, have been great expansions of the like the early Rebellion era.
Andor is
amazing.
I know it probably makes a lot of hardcore fans angry if I say this, but who knew that not having any Jedi or lightsabers or Skywalkers would make Star Wars better?
I mean, it's it's one of those things of he just wanted to tell a good story, and that's at the core of why Andor is so good, is because he saw an opportunity for a really good story. He was like, hey, I want to tell this, and he somehow got them to greenlight it, and it worked.
Yeah.
And season 2 is coming.
I was really worried when they put out the first season 2 trailer.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, with that weird music and everything.
I was like, this looks like a totally different show.
No, to be fair, I looked at that trailer and I'm like, yeah, he had no input in that trailer. That's like, I could feel the marketing disconnect.
Yeah,
you know, like that's not gonna.
I was like, this looks like a trailer made by someone who never watched the first season.
Absolutely,
and has never watched Star Wars anything ever.
Wow.
You know, it's just it's really, really bad. But then the next trailer that came out, I was like, okay, that's more like an Andor trailer. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm really. I
have played Jedi Fallen Order. I
have not played Jedi Fallen Order. I played some of the Jedi games, but I haven't played Fallen Order.
It's worth play if you like Saw Gerrera. It's like another interesting like snippet because he keeps popping.
Okay. I like him just because like he's one of the extremely rare, morally ambiguous, morally conflicted Star Wars characters.
I wouldn't call him conflicted.
Or not
I don't
conflicted,
feel like he's a conflicted, but he's a conflicting character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He just doesn't have, he's not just good and he's not just bad, you know.
He has a goal, and to a certain extent it's a worthy goal, but he will do anything for it.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't care who gets in the way or who dies. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's an interesting character. I like him a lot. I'm so looking forward to season.
Absolutely. I also got Dying of the Light by George R.R. Martin. I believe this is his first book. I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm reading this because I committed to doing it read by Kyle. He's doing this whole thing with Germ. So yeah. DK Moon, watch Andor. It's very much well worth it. There was
I was going to say Pete and I can talk to you about this for an hour. We won't. Don't worry.
Evie recently watched it with her husband too, and she got super into it.
I totally understand.
Made me want to watch it.
Understand dropping Disney Star Wars.
Yeah.
There has been like Book of Boba Fett almost did that to me. I loved The Mandalorian. I watched all of The Mandalorian. Not all of it was great, but I loved The Mandalorian. But Book of Boba Fett was an absolute garbage fire. It was so bad.
I think I got
2
episodes, 3 episodes.
Obi-Wan was not as bad as Book of Boba Fett, but it was pretty bad. And then I watched Andor and I was like, oh, okay, so someone actually knows how to do a good story in the Star Wars universe. I would totally recommend, forget everything else, disregard Andor being a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
It's a story about rebellion and totalitarianism that is set in a science fiction universe, which happens to be the Star Wars universe minus lightsabers, Skywalkers, and Jedi.
And to be fair, I think if you're looking at the core of what Star Wars as a film kind of was doing, like if they're like this is the first Star Wars stuff. Like since The Mandalorian, they've been obsessed with that whole like circular room and doing everything in the LED screens and stuff.
The volume.
Yeah, the volume. But now this is actually literally it feels
like
practical. It's going back to all the practical effects. Like it's actually going back to Star Wars roots of practical effects and trying to do those well.
Evie sold me on it with characters and clever storytelling, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm there for it. And then I went, but I got rid of Disney, so I can't watch it.
But also Pete is totally right. Like if you're sensitive to or care about the look of things, it looks
and the practical,
completely different than Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett or any of these other things. And it's well written. The characters are awesome. It's really, really good. Yeah. I would also recommend Rogue. Yeah. Watch it. Disregard that it is Disney Star Wars. Just It's
Treat
a
it separate.
sci-fi story with cool characters and a good story.
Yeah.
It's not Disney Star Wars.
Yeah, there's somebody at work that like doesn't want to watch it because it doesn't have any lightsabers and stuff in it, and I'm just like, but she also has like said like, but there's no Han and Luke and Leia, and I'm like, that's literally most of Star. I don't know. I have to like.
But also, so do lots of TV
Yeah.
shows not have those things, and some of those shows are amazing.
Just like, let things be what they want to be, and just watch the stories for what they are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
While we're talking Star Wars, Pete, I saw a thing this week that I should have linked to you, but it didn't occur to me. I saw a sandwich press where the top of it is Han Solo in carbonite. And I was like, I want it. I never eat toasted sandwiches, but I
would
want
turn
it.
into a toasted sandwich man for that.
You can eat toasted frozen
close.
Han sandwiches.
Toasted.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's so cool.
That's really cool.
I have an ice maker that makes little Death Star ice balls.
Yeah,
nice.
Nice.
Rogue, I would say.
I've got a R2D2 cookie jar.
I would say, I don't know what Darian and Pete think, but I would say, yeah, even if you didn't like Rogue One, because I
was going to say, Rogue and I are just fated to have completely opposite opinions on absolutely everything.
Yeah,
it's connected to Rogue One, but it's a pretty tenuous connection.
So I'll say about this: when I watched Rogue One, I think that I really didn't like Jyn Erso when I first watched Rogue One, right? No. And I still kind of like am middling on her as a character. I do think that Andor, and then also Andor season 2 probably will do this well, because Andor season 2 butts up onto the very beginning of Rogue One. Andor season 1 really helped me connect to Andor as a character, and does absolutely make Rogue One better, right? Because there's multiple characters that are in this series that are in Rogue One, and actually that makes me want you to watch it more, because if you didn't like Rogue One, I'm very interested in seeing what your opinion of Rogue One is after watching Andor season 1 and 2. This is the whole like, hey, experiment on our friends with different opinions thing.
So we need to lock Rogue in a. You'd think with his name he would like Rogue One.
Exactly.
We need to lock Rogue in a room with Andor
assumed.
and nothing else.
But he loves Dead House Gates.
But he loves Dead House Gates.
That's what has saved our friendship.
I don't need to kick him. Yeah.
That's right. And I have to ask, seeing as how we said that Evie has watched Andor and has sold me on it until I finally get Disney and watch it. Have you watched Firefly yet, Evie?
Oh my God, Evie hasn't watched Firefly. I'll kick her now. I'll wait for her answer, but otherwise I'll kick her.
Because we need to know. Yeah. I'm saying this because I know I have support here to say you have to.
She really does need to. There's so many
things
about that series you love.
It's really good.
Yeah. Like it really is that
best
good.
Motley Crue ever.
Yeah. Jared, have you watched Firefly?
It's outstanding.
No pressure.
Yeah.
That's all right then. I was going to say, because we're not going to bully you.
Kick you out.
Going to
lovingly push you into
you again.
Just increase a bit of peer pressure.
Yeah.
You know.
I watched it way back when it came out. So
should we maybe do a sprint?
I have one more book still.
Sure, I'm going to make it.
How do we all feel about a sprint?
Good.
What is it? It's 20 past-ish. Let's do it until the hour.
Okay, I won't be here when we come back because I've got to go and visit Jake on his channel for him to embarrass me about my knowledge of authors.
Cool.
Oh, is this Jake's whole who wrote this thing?
Yeah, who the F wrote that? So it's only short. Okay. I'll probably be back, but I won't be here at the end of the sprint.
Cool.
Have fun.
Enjoy. Let's go until the hour. Everybody enjoy your reading, and if you are on screen,
it's better than that, Evie.
Please mute yourself. I only say that because I sometimes forget as well, and nobody needs to be listening to my cat. Hello.
Howdy.
Hello.
We lost a Darian Pete, but we got a Britain.
Hey everyone.
Hey,
Hey,
Britain.
Britton.
How are you?
Not bad.
I missed the pub, man. How you been?
I've been okay. I've been up and down, to be honest. I already talked about that at length
Well.
earlier today. How is everyone's reading going?
Good. I actually only read a couple pages because I have been gone all weekend, so I needed to catch up on some admin stuff so that was out of the way.
Yeah. I actually was prepping a module for tonight's role-playing game. So
Cool.
Nice.
You're playing D&D.
I'm actually playing Castles and Crusades tonight.
Oh, okay.
Fun.
Yeah.
C&C. All right.
CNC.
I'm
different
not
letters.
really familiar with it. Is it
It's
that different from D&D or
very D&D adjacent.
right?
Except the system is just slightly different.
Okay,
But it's pretty much the same thing.
basically the same thing. Okay,
Bit more like old school D&D, like first edition type stuff.
okay. That was my D&D.
Yeah.
I started
Yep.
with basic.
Well,
back in the day.
Yeah, they're all mine. All of them. I've done them all.
I dropped out of D&D completely between first edition and fifth edition. I didn't play. I played other role-playing games, but I didn't play any D&D at all. So I missed second, third, fourth completely.
You missed fourth. That's good. Fourth was
Yeah, I've heard. I mean, I've sort of seen by osmosis. I've sort of learned the varying opinions everyone has of the different editions and why their favorite edition is the only one that doesn't suck. But never interested me much. But then I looked at fifth edition. I was like, D&D is finally getting to be a game that I actually wouldn't be completely annoyed playing.
Yeah, it's good. All the editions had their ups and downs, but
Yeah.
it's all good.
I like Sumbarum quite a bit.
Symbaroum is cool.
I mean, it's not really like the most like D&D adjacent, but like it is a role playing game. I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
It is a role playing game. I kind of find the very specific you're meant to be doing this in Symbaroum kind of limiting. And it also felt to me, I like the system.
Mhm.
I like the rules. I think the rules are actually quite nice, but it always felt to me
That's what I like the most because one of the things I hate in D&D is the like I hate the combat. Combat sucks in D&D. I don't like I don't like it anyway. I know there's probably some people who like it. I don't. I think it's very tedious.
Rogue, you've heard what described as the new Coke? Castles and Crusaders or 5th edition? Not sure which one you mean.
This edition's pretty nice.
There are so many. I always say this to people who only play D&D and have only ever played D&D. There are so many role-playing games that do so many things so much better than D&D. D&D does some very specific things, and it took them 25, 30 years to kind of realize that it's not actually a war game, that it's about stories. Fourth edition, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, D&D is still, I can still feel where it came from, which was war games with like thousands of miniatures on a table. Is kind of the people that created D&D were playing that and then thought, but what about the actual individual people that we're playing on here? And that's how D&D kind of evolved into a thing. And there are a lot of games I like a lot more because they do story a lot better. They're not simulating swinging a sword or shooting an arrow, or they're actually much more about story.
Yeah, that depends on who you're playing with too.
Of course, I mean, a really good DM can make a really good D&D game, no question. But the rules don't encourage great stories. Yeah, that's not what the D&D rules are there for. The D&D rules are there to simulate people and their actions, and that's a very different thing. Yeah. Anyway, maybe not that many role-playing game nerds out there in the pub. So what's Evie going on about with her walls of text?
Just talking about Mythic Quest, the TV show.
It's fun. It's actually quite a lot of fun.
I
haven't watched it, but it's made by the people who made It's Always Sunny, so I'm like, I gotta watch it at some point.
It is.
I don't have
pretty.
Apple TV.
It is pretty fun. It's Danny Pudi. Okay, he's the guy who plays Brad in Mythic Quest. Yeah. It's I think the coolest thing about the show, for those of you who don't know Mythic Quest, it's a show about a game development studio that is running a huge MMO game like World of Warcraft. The coolest thing about the show is that the people who are paying for it are Ubisoft, who are a big game studio, one of the biggest. And I just thought that was so cool. When I saw that in the credits, produced by Ubisoft, I was like, what? Really?
Are they making fun of themselves?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
it's
cool. That's cool.
I mean, I assume that all of, or a lot of what's in the show is parody of things that happen at Ubisoft and other game dev studios,
That's cool.
And the whole thing is just like this bizarre parody satire. And even as someone who hasn't worked in games but has worked in software for years, I look at it and I'm like, I know that guy. I know that guy, and it's not even that exaggerated. I know exactly that guy. So yeah, it's pretty hilarious, especially if you work anywhere in tech. You'll recognize almost everybody in the show as someone you work with, or someone you're glad you don't work with anymore, maybe. Yeah. It's a fun show. We don't mind cat sounds. Yeah, there were no cat sounds, but it was sweet. Fitz usually doesn't do this in the evening, but she did come over and sit on my lap while I was reading. She's more of a morning lap cat for some reason. There are really unexplainable behaviors with her. There are certain things she will never do at a certain time of day, but she will always do at a different time of day. I don't really understand why.
Yeah, cats are like that. I got 3 in my house. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah, I have one. She was actually just in here. She's like, "Oh, let me come up on your desk," and I'm like, "No, put you down and let me sit on my lap." She's like, "I'll just leave."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know what? Screw you too, Jerry. But you love them.
Yeah, Fitz is like that. I just she does what she wants to do, and as long as it's not something I don't want her to do, I just ignore it. I don't care. What are you reading, Britton?
Well, I am reading Discovery by J.A.J. Minton, the Mintons from Talking Story, and
Cool.
Tide is Grown, which is the first of the Gorman Gas books. So
It is.
Nice.
Cool. How are you finding them? Are you reading an arc of the Minton's book?
Yes, I got an e-arc.
15th.
Yeah. Yes, I got an e-arc of it.
Nice.
Because I'm pretty tight with them. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's a really yeah, it's really good. I'm enjoying it. It does kind of lull a little bit in the middle part, but or one of the parts I read at the moment, they kind of did this whole like, here's what's going on. You're just like, but aside from that, it's very good.
Expo dump.
Sometimes, yeah, it's kind of like it's like in Hellboy when he goes to the island and it's like, here's how everything is here's what's actually going on. And you're just like, really? Come on, like, I like that.
There it is.
But after that, I'm going to hopefully read Phased by one
Nice.
Victoria Tekken.
I've heard of her.
Possibly in this chat.
I've heard she has a new book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coming
Fantasy
out.
Western, darn tootin'.
When's it coming out? Someone remind me.
27th of May.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Yep. Well, I hope you enjoy Phase, Britain.
I like werewolves, so I probably will.
Same. I like werewolves specifically more than shapeshifters, which is what most people write as werewolves, and it makes me mad because I'm a nerd and it's not the same thing.
So yours are proper lycanthropes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Lycanthropes, yes.
As they should be.
As they should be. Yep. Yeah. Otherwise, they're not werewolves. They're shapeshifters.
It looks like they're not going to be like stupid, sexy werewolves. So I'm like, oh man, I'm going to love this.
I hope everyone knows me better than that.
You didn't write sexy werewolves? I was hoping that the next book would be
if
sexy
somebody
vampires.
finds them sexy, I can't fault them for that or like stop it. But that wasn't, the point.
That wasn't the intention, the author's intent.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know that you haven't become a completely different person since you wrote that book.
Nope.
Well,
there's one character in there that I have received like well-intentioned threats from readers that if I ever do anything to this character, they will find me.
It's your book's carrot.
Essentially, kind of, yeah. Yep.
Must survive.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I wanted to say before someone asked last time, I am drinking Glendronach, which is a really nice single malt. And I'm drinking it. I don't think Gaz is actually watching, but Gaz on the fireside and I had a long discussion in the movie channel for some reason about whiskey.
As you do.
Today, as you do. Yeah. And that made me think, tonight I'll drink whiskey. When I run out of that, because it was the last of the bottle, I'll be drinking Brastad, which is my favorite cognac.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a nice cognac. Not a super special or like fancy expensive one or anything, but like of the sort of everyday cognacs, it's the best one I've tried, at least. So, and it's easy to get. So all the advantages. I need to buy more of this. This is actually a special edition that was aged in portwood casks, and it's good. I got addicted to this when I don't know if I've talked about this before. My ex-wife and I are still good friends, and she has remarried, and her new husband, well, not new, they've been married for like 8 years or longer. But her second husband is even cooler than she is. I love her husband, Paul. And they invite me because I'm single and live in a small flat and don't really have anything to do at Christmas. They invite me. I have an open invitation to go to their fucking manor house just outside of London. They have this amazing, it's not quite Downton Abbey, but not too far from it. They have this stunning house, and I go and spend Christmas with them. So one Christmas, Paul, after we're all super full after a huge Christmas dinner, and we've been drinking all day while cooking and eating, and we're sitting in there, like if I say to you, English lounge room, exactly the picture in your head is what their English lounge room looks like. Dark green walls, leather armchairs, big fire, It's like exactly what you're imagining. And a table like this off to one side that is just covered in bottles. And most of it, almost all of it, is scotch. Different scotches.
Wow.
So Paul comes over with a glass. He's like, here, try this. It's the best scotch I've ever had. It's amazing. Paul is a high-powered lawyer in London, so he has a lot of money, and it's an over $200 bottle that he got as a gift from a client.
Wow.
And it's Glendronach 30-year or something like that.
Yeah.
And it tastes like caramel. It's so good. And of course, as soon as I get home, I go and buy a Glendronach 10-year, which is a completely different thing and costs nothing like what the other one cost. And it's not nearly as good, but it's still good. So that's why I'm drinking Glendronach.
Is my preferred bourbon.
Cool.
I like that.
Woodford, is it Woodford Reserve?
Woodford Reserve, yeah. Double oaked. Gotta be double oaked.
All right. I'll try it. I like a good bourbon as well.
Yeah.
I don't
Smart,
know if
Daniel.
I can get it over here. But
Yeah, I saw Daniel's
Smart
comment.
choice.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, they weren't written that way for a reason.
That's good.
yeah. Binge Happen Leonard. I don't know Happen Leonard.
Oh, he was. We're talking about Joe Lansdale. That's his crime series. Also, very underrated TV show too. So,
you know what I've been watching?
What have you been watching
and enjoying? Unexpectedly, The Wheel of Time.
Oh,
yes. Season 3 has been fantastic.
Season 3 has been so much better. I thought season 1 was a bit clumsy. Season 2 is better, but not great. And season 3 so far is the shit. It's been really good.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm saying this
someone
before Nerdy Kathy wakes up and comes on to yell at me. I'm saying this as a person who did not and will not read the books. I'm totally uninterested in the books, so I don't care.
Yeah,
if
I read the
character is perfect or not.
Yeah,
you know?
I read them when they came out, a long time ago, so I don't remember anything. And
perfect,
I'm just enjoying the hell out of TV show.
Yeah,
great,
nice.
Yeah, and apparently I found a YouTube channel called Unraveling the Pattern, who is a dude exactly what you would imagine from someone like us who has a booktube channel and talks about books he loves. He only, though, talks about Wheel of Time. And so he's a huge book nerd, and he's been doing 2 episodes of his show for every episode of the Wheel of Time show. One where he just sort of reviews it and goes through what's happening, and another where he talks about like the lore behind it and the differences or similarities or improvements from the book. And he's refreshingly positive about the show. There are a lot of I hate the show videos, and he'll pick up things where he's like, I don't think this was a good choice. I think it was better in the book because, but he also says, this was really dumb in the books, and they have cut it out and improved it in this way, and I love it. He's very positive about the show. It's nice to see.
Yeah, there's so much like doom scrolling on on YouTube in particular.
I very actively, especially when it comes to fandom stuff, like nerd tribes, I very actively look for positive stuff.
It got a lot of unnecessary hate. And I look at it as it's a fantasy show. There's not many out there.
More fantasy TV is good, unless it's Sword of Shannara, which was bad.
Yeah, right. Epic fantasy, even epic fantasy, and there's not much. And enjoy what we got.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, again, without any perspective on the books were like this and they did this in the show and it's not the way it was in the books and all of that, it's actually good.
Yeah,
it's actually pretty good. Wow. This season has been epic so far.
I do know a guy who contributed some music, but he's also on BookTube, so a lot of people might know him.
Yeah,
right.
Nikhil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's Nikhil or something. So
Yeah.
I always butcher his name. It's not American.
Yeah, it's even got good music. Actually, my only complaint is I find the costuming almost universally stupid. It's really really strange. Like it feels like every room in the entire show has a different wardrobe to it. Like and just wildly different, you know, and it feels so all over the place that it doesn't. I think what they're trying to do is like these people dress this way and these people dress this way and like show some sort of cultural location kind of differences, but it's a bit wild. It's really a bit scrappy and all over the place. Indeed, Rogue. Shannara was.
It was. Yeah.
Normally, I say more fantasy TV is good, but more fantasy TV, as long as it's not Shannara, is good. Shannara was really bad.
It would be nice if somebody could actually just do it well, but
yeah. Although it kind of fits because I find the books pretty crap as well. The books were quite average, especially the first one. Oh, this is interesting. Also, I found a channel called First Timer, guy reading Lord of the Rings for the first time, making comment videos after every chapter. Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like that. I'd like to. I will have to look that up. Daniel, Pirates of the Caribbean Country is so dumb. Especially Tenchiko's costumes. I'm like, did you just have a whole bunch of lingerie left over and didn't know what to do with it? What is going on in Tenchiko? It looks so dumb.
It's real like sexy warriors then? Like is that
No, it's like everybody's sort of, I don't know. It looks actually, you know what it looks like? It looks like a Culture Club music video. It looks like 80s pop music is what Tenchiko looks like. Maybe that's why I can't take it seriously, because I actually lived through 80s pop music. Yeah, I don't know. But overall, I find it really, really good. I've been really enjoying it. What have you been watching recently that was good or wasn't good?
You know, I've been actually watching a couple of TV shows. I watched a new season of Invincible, which was really good.
Yep.
They've not missed. I mean, the animation could be better, but what are you gonna do?
It's not about the animation.
Yeah, it's true. But absolutely great. They covered some of my favorite bits from the comics, so I'm just like, oh my god. And they're also introducing new stuff, and they're actually improving on the comic in some places. I'm like, this is fantastic. Oh my god, these guys are cooking. Yeah. I also watched what else? I watched a new season of Reacher, which was awesome.
I'm getting kind of tired of Reacher, to be honest.
Oh man, I know season 2 was kind of a letdown in comparison to season 1, but like season 3 was awesome. I loved season 3. It was so good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing with Reacher for me is it feels very samey.
It's fair. Yeah, it's very like pulpy character, kind of like
yeah.
What? Oh man, the finale of Invincible was just
hardcore.
Like it was my favorite part of the comic as well. So I'm like, oh my god, they better not screw this up, and they didn't. It was great.
No, it was really
So
really good. The fight scenes in the finale were just epic.
Oh my, he's so
epic.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, Steven Yeun just murdered it. Like, just absolutely, just he nailed it. So good.
Yeah.
I'm an Invincible stan.
Absolutely. I haven't read the comics. I kept meaning to for many years, never did.
I like Britain. I think the show's better.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I don't know.
I don't feel any need to read the
things
comics.
better than the comics. There are some
I think it is.
I don't know. Okay.
I don't feel any need
love
to
the
read the comics after watching the show. I'm just like, the show is awesome. That's enough. That's okay with me. I don't need to go back and look at the comics. I started watching Bosch Legacy, the new season of Bosch Legacy. I'd already been following it. I love the character, and I love Titus Welliver, the actor. He is so good as Bosch.
He's also very good in Deadwood.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to compare them because they're both kind of crime shows centered around one dude, and that's probably a lot of the reason that Reacher starts feeling pretty flat to me, because the character of Reacher, first of all, the character of Reacher is he's got Asperger's.
Oh yeah, I've thought the same thing. I'm like, this dude's got like autism or something.
I mean, it's never like officially stated. He doesn't have a diagnosis or something as a character, but he's obviously an Asperger's dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the actor probably plays that really well, but what it means is he doesn't play any emotion ever.
Yeah, it's very muted.
There's no emotional expression. That the only character attribute that Reacher has is he's a big dude and he's smart about solving crimes. Okay. But I don't know. Titus Welliver playing Bosch has so much more acting range, emotional range. The character also has more range, the way he's written and everything.
I need to get to those books, but I'm really bad at keeping up with those like long running crime books. Just like, dude, so many of them, man.
Aslan, I would say that the Reacher TV show isn't that. It looks like that. I totally understand how it looks like that, but there's actually a lot more sensitivity and stuff in the writing. But most of the interesting stuff character-wise comes from secondary characters, not from Reacher himself.
Yeah, I was about to say it's kind of like writing The Punisher. Like The Punisher is like this force of nature. It's the other people around him that are generally like more interesting, at least in my opinion. You know.
Yeah, Reacher is very one note.
Yeah,
as a character,
he's a really smart, tough dude who smacks people. You know, delivers ownage on evil. You know,
exactly. Pete,
hello.
Pete's back.
Pete
is
back
from watching Derry own everybody.
Oh, nice.
Who the
awesome.
heck this? Who the F
She's the greatest reader of us all, guys.
Love to hear it.
Even talking about books that she hasn't read.
Derry watches a lot of BookTube. Like, she knows what's up. Like, even for stuff she hasn't read, she's so in tune with what her friends are reading and how they feel about things that, like, yeah, that doesn't surprise me, honestly.
She was earlier. We were talking about weird, obscure Malazan lore, and she was nodding like she knew what the fuck we were talking about. And I was like, "What are you doing?"
I do that sometimes, even when I don't know what anybody's talking about. So you never know.
Yeah,
she's good.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, good.
Sorry,
listener.
I kind of spoiled the episode for people that were going to watch it later. Apologize.
That's right.
I just watched recently a film that apparently is a big deal that I had never seen before. Legends of the Fall. I just watched that last week. Yeah. It was pretty good. There were some really intensely well acted moments in that movie, and I thought it was really well cast. Had some quibbles with it, but overall I thought it was pretty good.
Trying to remember. Oh, yeah.
The Three Brothers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched that. a long time ago.
Most of the TV shows I watch, nobody has ever heard of because they're Korean. So I haven't watched any Western shows much this year yet.
And I haven't watched any Korean shows, so
That's fair.
we have no TV to talk about, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Bummer.
Sad. I also, the Fireside Discord is a really good place for recommendations for not only people talking about books, but for shit to watch. I started watching White Lotus, or The White Lotus.
I've heard of this show.
Evie!
Wild Evie has appeared.
It's good. I'm in season 3 right now.
I'm in the middle of season 2, and I keep kind of bouncing back and forth with my fundamental problem that I have with a lot of modern television. If there's no one to like in the show, I can't watch it. Like, I could not watch Mad Men. I got about halfway through the first season. I was like, I just want everyone to die. I don't want to spend any time with anyone in this show. I am not watching anymore.
So, do you hate Pete Campbell? Because I absolutely despise Pete Campbell.
I don't know who Pete Campbell is.
He's in Mad Men. He's the young, like, yuppie guy who shows up and.
I just said I hate everyone in Mad Men. Everyone that I saw in Mad Men, I was like, your character could die right now by a random car accident, and I would not care. In fact, I'd probably be happy about it. I don't want any of you on my television anymore.
I just thought Mad Men was dry, but yeah, no, I hear you. I feel you, man.
White Lotus is kind of like that. It seems like every season has one person that you don't want to see die. You know, like everybody else is just completely reprehensible, selfish, awful people who are all manipulating, gaslighting, taking advantage of each other constantly.
And you can still have you can still have characters that are bad, despicable, whatever, and you can still like them in a compelling manner. And it sounds like
like The Sopranos.
Yeah, the Sopranos, like everybody in The Sopranos is horrible. Like they're horrible people, but some of them are likable, horrible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you can kind of enjoy watching them be horrible, or I did anyway. But in White Lotus, there's one person every season where you're like, this is maybe someone who shouldn't die. Otherwise, everyone should. But I'm enjoying it. It's not Mad Men level of horrible. Yeah. Aslan got through the first episode of Mad Men.
I wanted to get into Mad Men because I love Christina Hendricks.
Yeah.
I wanted to like it.
I did the same thing. I bounced off it too.
Yeah. It's a classic, like Kyle, read by Kyle, recommended I can't see it right now, a book to me, which is all about like some groundbreaking sort of television redefining television shows like The Wire and Sopranos and so on. Mad Men is one of them.
It is.
Yeah, and it did.
Yeah. It was a meaningful, different thing when it came out.
Well, it gave us that nostalgia television that sort of became a thing with Peaky Blinders, and where it's like not really history, like old history, but we recognize this time frame and the people in it. And
yeah.
And also it started off AMC as like a network channel being able to make, original television. At least I don't remember them making anything before that.
Felt that, Rogue. There's so many like classic or good TV shows that people are like, or like people like binge TV a lot, and I can't binge much nowadays. There are some exceptions because, like, I recently went through another Andor binge, but they're few and far between.
Wait, you watched it a third time, Pete?
I don't know how many times I've watched. I probably watched it like 5 times by now, but like I got through all of it like last week.
Again? See, I know you were binging it like 2 weeks ago.
After you watched it, I went through it once.
And then you binged it again after that?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I thought
Whenever, yeah.
This week. Because it's awesome.
Hint Evie.
I was going to say Peaky Blinders is one that I need to go back and try again. I don't know if it was just not the right timing or what. I got through about 2 episodes of that one like a year ago, and I just couldn't get into it.
Why?
George.
Why is Evie so excited about George climbing?
Up on the cat tree.
Because it's George.
Is this something that George doesn't do?
No, she doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
Okay.
I know. I'm so proud of her.
Go George.
Listen, that old lady, she's still spry.
She's still got
it.
Is she? She was far away, so I couldn't see that clearly. But is she like mostly shaved because of her sickness recently?
So her hair's growing back. I gotta go monitor her.
I mean, I don't want to embarrass her or anything, but
she is less loose than usual.
Yes.
So she wanted up at the thing because she wants to bat at the cord for the blinds.
So she's feeling good.
Oh, she's feeling great. She was getting high on some catnip about 10 minutes ago. She had her face shoved in a toy, just like huffing it.
I like it.
Oh my gosh.
Britain cats have this thing where they'll do something, like they'll try to jump up on something and miss, and then they get embarrassed. But their way of getting embarrassed is like, I meant to do that.
I totally meant to do that.
Yeah, I meant to do that. What are you looking at? What's your problem?
Why are you laughing?
Yeah.
Weirdo. Yeah. Fitz did it last night. The top of my sofa. Like I have a sofa that's basically sort of a frame with these cushions that sit on it, but they're loose. Yeah. So the top of the sofa is about this wide and it's rounded on the top. And Fitz insists on walking along the back of the sofa, of course. And last night I'm sitting there watching television and I hear this whoosh next to me, and I look over. And she has slipped off of the back and then fallen in between the cushion and the back of the frame and is totally losing her shit, like trying to regain her dignity. And then she gets sort of halfway out and she's got like one leg over there, one leg over there, and like hanging behind the cushion, and she's all over the place. And she just looks at me like,
what?
Totally dead serious. Yeah. And I'm laughing my ass off, of course.
I can so visualize that.
And she does it all the time. And you would think eventually she'd be like, I'm not going on the back of the sofa anymore. But she retries it every 2 days.
Oh, God. I've had cats like that, and they're hilarious. I had one cat that when he was hungry, he would go into the pantry to, like, for me, as high as I could reach shelf. And he would sit on that shelf and knock the tin cans off the shelf. Like, could someone fucking feed me, please? He'd just knock individual cans off the shelf.
Yeah.
So we had to learn.
Jared just said he needs to drop out. See you, Jared. That's a more pleasing layout anyway. 6 people. Don't have one weird hanging off the bottom by themselves. Yeah.
I can handle it.
So, Derry, Pete said you absolutely slayed on Jake's channel.
I kicked ass.
Yeah, no, I didn't even give him that. I just came in and just immediately spoiled the episode for everybody.
Yeah, Pete already spoiled it, so now we can.
I mean, to be fair, I
want.
only minorly spoiled it. I just spoiled it that like she won.
Oh yeah.
Whatever winning means.
Which is the only point of the whole thing.
Of course.
Absolutely.
What does winning mean?
I just finished saying to Jake, For me to have done so well is a win for BookTube in general. I could only have done that.
Mary, are you saying that I'm a failure for BookTube?
Yes.
No. I'm saying that my success is due to BookTube.
I didn't win for me. I won for BookTube. I did it for you.
That was the first thing I told everybody. I was like, Derry pays attention to what everybody says about the books they're reading. So it doesn't surprise me at all that you know everything.
Derry only reads like 3 series.
I need to know a lot. It's like, is this worth me putting the effort in to read it? Because it's going to be hard. So I need to know. So yeah, I pay pretty close attention.
Yeah.
So because sometimes it's like, okay. The way people write can be enough to offset what they're writing about. So even people I don't think I'm going to enjoy, I still want to know what people are saying.
Yeah.
So
I remember when I had my podcast and I just kind of brought up like we were talking about. I brought up like Christopher Reeve Superman, and she's just like, "Oh yeah," and I was just like, "Yeah, this woman's awesome."
I read his autobiography.
Britain, just newsflash. Anyone anywhere near Derry and my age watched Christopher Reeve as Superman in the cinema.
Oh yeah.
And then we mourned the loss of his
it was a huge big deal.
And he was such a lovely man.
It was a huge big deal when he ended up in a wheelchair, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's more an age thing than anything else. Not that Derry's not cool.
I mean
Derry's awesome. No question. But
if you haven't read it, you might enjoy his autobiography. It's called Still Me. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was
I'm sure Evie will be glad to hear this on kind of a non-related note, but I am reading Tight as Grown right now. So
let's go.
I also wanted to say, Aslan, Peaky Blinders is a good show with horrible people. They're enjoyable to watch horrible people, more so than Mad Men, for me anyway. And if you like Peaky Blinders, you should read The War for the Rose Throne by Peter McLean.
Ooh, okay.
It's 4 books.
Yep.
And it's basically grimdark, although I hate the label, fantasy Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen the Tom Hardy movie Legend?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Years ago.
Is that similar in vibe to Peaky Blinders?
I haven't seen Legend.
Yeah, it's the one where he plays the twins, right?
Yeah, the Craze.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Yeah. Then I'm going to be watching Peaky Blinders as soon as I have access to it, wherever it is.
I mean, it's basically a gang in Birmingham, a family gang in Birmingham, right after.
I knew
the
they
war.
were Brummies, but yeah.
And the setup, it's not a spoiler, it's right at the beginning of the show. The setup is they were soldiers, they all went off to the war, and they have just come back, and their kingdom has been dismantled, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's been left in the hands of the few people left, and
exactly, and they lost most of it, and they're getting it back now.
Which is exactly the way War for the Rose Throne starts.
War for the Rose Throne. I mean, I've talked to Peter McLean about the books.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dude, like,
hello, dear.
Did you just decide to do Peaky Blinders with magic? And he was like, yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
And he did it really well. I mean, they're awesome books, but it is basically Peaky Blinders with magic in a fantasy.
It's kind of like Boardwalk Empire with British people, from what I've heard anyway.
And numerous decades earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In Birmingham, but and more violent.
Yeah. I'm going to guess too, with who's in the cast and who's directed, I'm going to guess it's got a very British grit to it.
It's pretty gritty. And I mean, Cillian Murphy.
Oh, like, he's so magnificent.
How can you not love watching Cillian Murphy do anything? Like, he is awesome.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Wait, you pronounce his name Cillian, not Killian?
Yeah. He actually pronounces it with the K sound.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
I was listening to an interview with him yesterday, I think, talking about Oppenheimer and what did he enjoy most about it. And he really offhandedly kind of went, the wardrobe. Because they tailored everything for him.
That's fair.
And they put together all these beautiful suits, and he said, and you get the sort of high-waisted pleated pants. And he goes, and they're really flattering and they're really comfortable. He goes, I wish they would make a comeback. They're really nice. It's like,
honestly, that's one of the arguments for Peaky Blinders as well, is the wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
Like the dudes, and I mean, they play it up. There are a number of like 6 guys walking abreast in slow motion, and they're all dressed to the nines in there, and it really looks
in Birmingham,
good.
That will have been a flex, because getting hold of good fabric for suits in Birmingham after the war will have been so hard. Yeah. I did not mean to sound that nerdy. Sorry.
So the guy
love it.
So basically, I mean, I've seen clips of Peaky Blinders. I mean, they got the drip. I'll say that they got the drip.
Oh, they're fine-looking men.
They're very sharp, all of them.
To be fair, so was Tom Hardy in Legend.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah.
Tom Hardy's awesome. He's one of my favorites.
Tom Hardy is also in Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, in like season 2, I think.
Yeah.
He plays. Derry's like done.
I'm gonna watch one day too. As soon as I have access to this show, I'm binging.
He plays a rabbi who is a crime boss.
Nice.
Yeah. And he plays it really well.
He's a better actor than people give him credit for.
I
think because he's so often unrecognizable.
Mm-hmm. He's very
I'm a big fan of Bronson. That's probably my favorite Tom Hardy, because he's just delightfully unhinged in that movie.
That's something he can be.
To go back to Cillian Murphy, one, as an aside, apparently my cat is so high on catnip right now that she wants to kill herself by trying to go after the light switch thing that's for one of the lights, and I'm like, that's like way too far away. This is not happening. Anyway, my favorite Cillian Murphy film, and the film that introduced me to him, other than 28 Days Later, is Sunshine. I love that movie, and no one talks about Sunshine. It's such a great movie.
I don't think I've seen Sunshine.
Oh my god, so good, so good.
I like Sunshine, but I'm like, Alien blows that shit out of the water. Sorry.
It's not the same thing. I mean, it's not an equivalent thing, but
Something I will say though is Cillian Murphy is always Cillian Murphy. Yeah. Tom Hardy isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cillian Murphy has. Part of it is his acting. He basically always seems to be acting like Cillian Murphy, but he also just has characters. He just has a very particular look. Like
there's an intensity in him.
Couldn't do anything to Cillian Murphy's face that you wouldn't know it was Cillian Murphy. Whereas Tom Hardy seems to inhabit a character a bit more and have a bit more of a not so super unique look.
He's more malleable in how he can appear, definitely.
My favorite.
Has anyone seen Red Eye with Cillian Murphy?
That's the plain one with Kate. Somebody, Kate.
I don't know.
Quite an old one. Or is that Rachel? I can't remember her name. She was in The Notebook.
Okay.
Oh. Rachel.
Basically, he's terrorizing all the plane.
Also, really, have any of you seen Locke with Tom Hardy in it, where it's just him in the car? That movie is
no, I haven't seen that one.
So
I'm gonna make my way through all of his stuff at some point. I will say my favorite Tom Hardy film up to this point is Warrior. It's one of my favorite films.
Warrior is phenomenal too.
It's such a good movie. It's him and Joel Edgerton as brothers who are MMA fighters, and they're estranged from each other. And
let me guess, they have to fight each other.
Yeah, but that's not the point of the movie. It's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal film.
Nice. Yeah, the woman.
I mean, that happens, but it's all the other stuff that's like.
Yeah.
Might be my favorite sports movie, like modern sports movie.
Mm-hmm. It's excellent. Yeah. It's also Joel Edgerton plus Tom Hardy. You're gonna get a great movie.
Yeah.
Also, Joel Edgerton has like one of the great American accents of all time. I did not even know he was Australian until like a few years ago. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm. Our actors have to work really hard at those because our accents are very noticeable. So
it's like when I watched L.A. Confidential and I saw Guy Pearce and Russell Crowe. I'm like, bro, their American accents are like,
Joel Edgerton. I couldn't place him by the name, but yeah, of course he's an Aussie.
Yeah.
He used to be on Aussie TV, didn't he?
Of course, they all started on Aussie TV. He was either in Dawson Creek or Neighbours. What's the bet?
I think he was
the same as any Kiwi actor goes through Shortland Street. It's just, Carl Urban on Shortland Street playing a gay ambulance officer.
Carl Urban.
He was so baby-faced, it was so cute. And then he went to America and got famous, and every time he's in a new thing, it hits the news. And Carl Urban joins another movie franchise. Yeah, so it's great.
You know what makes me mad? That we didn't get a second Dredd movie with
Carl
my
Urban God, yes. He was so good at Dredd.
He was certainly a lot better than Stallone.
Yeah. It was in his contract, Stallone, that at some point they had to see his face. And I'm like, why did they not at that point go, you can't be this character then?
Sorry. So he doesn't have a face. He has a helmet.
I saw something a few years ago on the internet, a meme. It's like, how do you tell the difference between if it's a sci-fi or a fantasy? If it's fantasy, if Carl Urban has a beard. It's sci-fi if Carl Urban is shaved. So
yeah.
So what you're saying is
sci-fi.
The Boys is apparently fantasy.
I was about to make the same thing.
Oh,
superhero fiction is confirmed fantasy now because of thanks to Carl.
Apparently, yeah.
The same couple that I mentioned earlier about the whole Sean Bean dies in movies he's not even in. They were like, "That's Carl Urban. That's Billy Butcher." What?
By the way, thank you, Colton. Yes, thank you. If people aren't going to listen to me, listen to Colton. Watch Sunshine.
Interesting,
man. Oh yeah, Chris Evans is a great actor.
I'll watch it.
I mean, even without Captain America, like watch him in something like Knives Out. He's phenomenal.
Gifted.
Seriously, Rogue? Snowpiercer? You mean the movie? There was a movie, I think, but
there was a movie with Tilda Swinton.
The series was weak. Really weak.
The movie was interesting.
The movie.
Okay,
I think the best part about the movie that I have ever or that I've ever engaged with is there's a theory that Snowpiercer is a prequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And it's absolutely brilliant.
Okay.
That's it's the best piece of media related to Snowpiercer that I've ever consumed.
Okay.
It is a random, I think it was a random Reddit thread or something like that, but
that's insane.
Okay.
I don't know where it originated.
I
found it.
My main problem with Snowpiercer is just the basic premise. Like I get off when someone I get off the train, so to speak, when someone says there's a train that can't stop and the whole world is ice. I'm like that. There's no way.
And what's even clearing the tracks? Like it's
exactly. There's just no conceivable way that can
How
work.
is it getting fuel? Who is achieving the fuel processing to give it fuel?
Exactly.
Speaking of trains, and to bring it back to books,
Sir
Barry,
Aslan,
I'm almost done.
Don't read the comic then, because my lord, it's even worse.
The Boys.
The Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook.
Okay.
Sorry.
Is that number 3?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have Mike's
I was about to say, don't read the
afterwards.
comics if you think the show is too gross, because man,
they definitely
Garth Ennis does not
They
hold
toned
back.
that down a lot from the comics. A lot.
I have heard some things about the comics and read about some of the analysis of some of the comics. It's like,
yeah,
look, I like Garth Ennis, but oh boy, that one.
You've gone beyond your point now. Yeah.
So if Snowpiercer is a prequel to Willy Wonka, you're talking about the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka, yeah?
Yes,
right.
Specifically.
Yeah. Because the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka takes place in totally normal England somehow.
Yeah.
And there's this factory down the road,
But the book takes place in properly ordinary England.
I've never read the book.
There's some very subtle things that the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka really adds world building wise.
Well, for sure, but Billy Butcher is great. Love that.
I have probably Willy Wonka trauma. I used to go when I was a kid, when I was very young. My mom worked, single mother, so I went to a daycare after school, and they had a projector. Like for those of you who are young, there used to be this stuff called film.
Yeah. I had one as a kid too.
It came on reels, and you could put it into a machine, and it would project through the film. And
Okay,
you get
boomer.
a picture on the wall. I'm too young to be a boomer. My parents were boomers.
I'm teasing you. I know what projectors are. I've used them before.
Hopefully, you also know what boomers are. Anyway,
I do.
The daycare used to have a projector.
It's the tunnel scene, isn't it? You were
but they only had one film.
You got the middle section.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. No. They had Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but it was the only film they owned.
Oh, I gotcha. Not just one reel.
So they would project it like every week, at least once, and we all loved it. Like, and that probably explains a lot about me. Like, growing up with Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka on repeat.
Yeah.
See you, Tori.
See you guys.
Bye, Tori. Thanks for coming by.
Godspeed, Tori. I'll let you know what I think of Phased when I get to it.
Hope you enjoy.
Yeah.
I did.
I did too.
Phased.
I might actually call it because it's almost 11 here. That's
I have to work on a story for my work about the Minecraft movie, which freaking sucked, by the way. Don't watch it.
I'm so shocked.
I wasn't even slightly tempted.
Target, like at the same time,
I had to watch it for work. I sacrificed some brain cells for my job to get that moolah.
None of us are the target audience for that movie.
No.
So I find that unsurprising.
No, that doesn't surprise me at all. Like I said, it's getting close to late.
We didn't even get to talk for 2 hours about Disco Elysium.
That's true.
Which means I have to come back.
I think it does.
I'm not adverse to that.
I'm absolutely certain it does. Although, if we're going to have a Disco Elysium-a-thon, we need to get Brian on here as well.
Yeah,
true.
It could be a little while.
He's also a Disco Elysium head.
It's true.
But he is otherwise occupied at the moment.
Yep.
Great to see you all. Thank you for joining the pub. Not only my lovely shining faces on the screen, but everybody in the chat as well. I am super happy that the pub is back. I'm super happy if the pub is doing good for you. It definitely does good for me and my mood. I wish you all happy reading and a lovely week, and I will see you next Sunday. Just to get it on your calendar, not next Sunday, but the Sunday after, I will be off being a nerd elsewhere. So I will be at a role-playing and board gaming convention-ish.
What, are you going to be role-playing and board gaming while you're there?
I will only be role-playing and board gaming and drinking way too much, probably, because we do that
like glorious
every time.
fun.
Yeah,
Drunken
it's
Wings
actually pretty
Band?
awesome. Yeah, actually, the thing is called the Kraken. Last Kraken, I was introduced to Wingspan for the first time by the biggest Wingspan fan, I think, on the planet, who is a Dutch lady, and she walked in with like a crate.
Yeah.
And we're like, dude, what is that? And she's like, I have everything. Like, what do you mean everything?
Because there's Wingspan, there's Wormspan, there's Finspan.
That crate had Wingspan and all the expansions and Wormspan and all the expansions in it.
Are there? I didn't know there were any expansions out for.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know nearly enough about that game.
If they existed,
but if they exist, she has it. Yeah. And she took us through it while we were drinking, and we were pretty drunk by the end, but it was a fun game. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
It does sound
So I will be doing that in 2 weeks, but I will see all of you next Sunday in the pub.
Thank you for hosting.
Have a good week.